Aloha, hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another video. And today I want to talk a little bit about downwind racing and downwinding in general. I want to talk a little bit about my personal experience with it, what I love about it so much, where is downwinding coming from, and where is it going. And before we get into this, hey, please guys, if you have it in you, click that like button, give me a follow. It really helps with the channel, whether you're watching it on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. It really helps out. And why did I come up with downwinding? Well, you know, last Saturday I was out in the ocean doing a downwinder on a new craft for the first time. And it brought back so many memories for when I started downwinding. I want to say by now, probably like 12, 13 years ago, when SUP started to become real popular here in Hawaii or in Maui. And the downwinding was, to me, is like I was a surfer person, and the summers gets flat and it gets boring. And then this downwinding came along, and it was so much fun with a paddle going down a coast and following those trailing swells, those little bumps and sometimes bigger bumps, and have this like as a workout and also something that is technically actually quite challenging. And this Saturday I kind of had that same experience again like I had 12, 13 years ago, where I was like in the water over and over again, and like I could not have a Maliko run, I could not do the 9 miles dry if I tried, but it was so exciting. And that was also at that time, that was like when SUP got started. SUP Racing was downwinding. That's what there was. There was nothing else. It was SUP winding, yes. SUP downing, winding, wind down supping was, that's what it was. The SUP race was a downwinder. We had channel crossings. And of course, I mean, the OC1 paddlers and the surf ski paddlers, they knew that from all along, and not to speak of all the pro paddlers, because races like the M2O, they've been going on forever, right? That was not invented with SUP, for all the people that might not have been aware of that, but I sure hope you are. It was just guys here from Maui, namely Archie Kalepa, that showed up with a SUP and an M2O and said like, hey, I'm gonna paddling this standing up, and everybody's flying, what the heck is that, right? So, just as an information on the sideline. So why was everybody so excited about downwinding? In my personal opinion, because it was such a great, or not was, is such a great combination of a physical workout and the technical challenge mastering the ocean environment. You're paddling and you're chasing those bumps, and you're constantly scanning the surface of the ocean for where to go, where's the next bump, because those bumps, they're not just parallel lines like a boat wake, they're kind of like mixed into each other, and they're smaller and bigger, so it is a little bit of a convoluted situation out there, and you're constantly looking. So it's a strategic game too. It's a workout and it's a strategic game, and that I think what really made SUP racing and downwinding particularly so exciting to me, that it is like it's a constantly changing kind of environment. And then of course we all know the history. Everybody came to Maui, Hawaii in general, to downwind, and then the SUP sport got carried out into all of the water bodies out there, and people were racing, flat water racing took over, and so on the story went. And now we go 10 years forward. I finally did a downwinder on a foil, and I tell you guys, it was not easy. I'm a little late to the game, I am aware of that, yes, absolutely. But with an SUP, you can just go out into the ocean and you paddle and you're going in the water, but in order to get on a foil is even harder than anything. Like anybody that ever tried know that, particularly on a downwind. And actually, you know, I have to say humbly, I did not paddle. I had a wing in my hand that helped me get on foil, and then, you know, let go of the wing or keep holding it in one hand and then try to do that and follow the swells while foiling. And it is extremely technical. And that kind of made me think how we are with the downwinding in a little bit of a transition, and it kind of makes me happy at one point, because I'm very excited about that new way of downwinding that I finally got to try. And it also made me a little bit sad, because we've seen race participating in the downwind genre are really kind of declining, particularly here over on Maui. When the foil came out, nobody wanted to go on a slow SUP anymore. Everybody wanted to go foiling, and of course it was in the beginning just a few elite ones that really knew how to do that, and now it's a lot of more and more people. And then we had like races like the M2O. Participation rate there in stand-up paddling went down, and guys are starting to show up on a foil. It's like, hey, I want to do this on a foil. And first the race organizers were kind of like, we don't know. Eventually, I think a year after the first guy tried and asked for it, they kind of said, yes, okay, we can do foiling. And now we had the COVID and we don't have any races at all. And I'm really wondering how this is gonna pan out. We have hopefully in August the Hood River coming up. I'm really hoping this is going to happen because I would really like to go back there, and I'm wondering what is going to happen. We don't have an M2O this year, so that's a given. But what's going to happen at the Hood River? Is everybody going to show up with a wing, and now it's not like a paddle challenge anymore? Now it's a sailing regatta? I don't hope so. Actually, to be honest with you guys, I really don't hope this is going to be the case. If I go there and participate, I will do it traditionally on a downwind board. Guaranteed. I will try to do the run, of course, also maybe with a wing foil, just recreationally. But I wanna stick with the paddling with those races, because to me, the SUP racing is still the thing to do. In all honesty, it's like even with the downwinders, it's like this combination of like human race against one another paddling instead of like sailing or just using the technique to float or to fly down ocean swells. I really like the aspect of actually paddling and have that workout. Because I'm telling you one thing, that downwinder that I did, it is very technical with a foil. Extremely, extremely technical. And hats off to the guys who did that with a paddle only and not with a wing. That's got to be the hardest. I'd like to master it someday, but I'm not quite sure how long that's going to take me. But I feel like with racing, there is like also this human aspect in it, that you are kind of like using a physical activity and beating guys like this, and not just applying a certain skill and the technique and finding those bumps. And then basically all you do is steering and navigating a board or a foil board down a race course without actually being physically much active in it by propelling yourself forward. So therefore, I'm kind of like want to stick with SUP racing, and I'm really wondering what is gonna happen with this. Are we gonna have separate races that maybe like there will be a category wing foil? But I don't want to have to make up in my mind. I want to have like maybe one day there's going to be a wing foil race and the other day is going to be SUP race. Then you can do both. Because yes, certainly, if there was a channel crossing race with wing foiling, oh, guaranteed, I would want to do it. I'm definitely very excited about it. I want to get better at it. I want to learn more downwinding, and I want to do that, definitely. But not at the sacrifice of SUP. I want to do both. I really want to do both. So say, for example, Paddly coming up, boom, probably going to be another virtual edition. I'm still going to do, in honor of SUP and for the kids here on Maui, I will paddle this. And then maybe the next day we go and like, you know, we're going to do it one time over again and we're going to wing foil it. So to me, the SUP Downwinder is not, it's not dead. It's something that I feel it's still very, very exciting. And you guys know how it is. I mean, like you're paddling and you have that bump in front of you, and then you kind of get into it and you get that release. And then you go so fast, and then you see another one, you can like steer over to the next bump, and you're connecting 2-3 bumps with a paddle, and it's just the adrenaline is pumping and you're paddling, and I think that is really cool. Equally as cool as it was with a foil, I think. A foil is also like, you know, it's all strategy there. There's no like paddling forward and catching the next bump. There's like, you kind of have to go and find it. So it's even more technical and more strategically placing on where you put your turn and how you get to the next bump. Because with a paddle, you can kind of paddle yourself there. We're going to paddle over the back of a bump with a paddle, with a foil board. You can't really do that. You kind of have to carve out or pump with your legs and all of that. So I think the last word has not been spoken. Please guys, Give me a comment, give me a like. I really want to know what you guys think. Stand-up paddling, stand-up foiling, wing foiling, racing. Where is it going to? Is SUP going to be just a flat water sport from this point on forward, and anything in downwind and ocean conditions is just going to be with a wing and a foil, or a foil and a paddle? What do you guys think where it goes? Because really, really interesting to see what happens, because we're going to have a post-COVID world. There's going to be races, there's going to be events, and it's going to be interesting to see, particularly, of course, in the downwind world, what's going to happen. So thank you guys so much for watching and participating, and we'll see you in the next video.